Brother Cole.
Good,
Good evening, my brother.
good evening.
How are you feeling
Oh,
today?
oh, great question. Well, I came off. I was coming off a sickness these past couple of days. I don't know if it was the flu. I think it was just a lot of body aches, sore throat, headaches, and it took me out. Um, and so I felt it Monday night, and I had to go home from school early, the evening class, and I didn't go to school Tuesday, Wednesday, and felt good enough to go to school yesterday. We did like outreach, and then I went to work for a little bit, and then went to work again today, and so like I'm feeling the effects of my body still getting up to speed, and to just recognize like because I do go hard and I give it my all, and then like to be down, and then to like assume that I'll be operating at full capacity right away is just kind of foolish. But and nonetheless, this is a long-winded answer because I'm in this mind space, dude, where I feel a shift in breakthrough happening more so of like there's I'm like catching things shifting in my life like real time and peeling back to like where I was at like a couple years ago, and this like awe and wonder, curiosity, growth mode, and realizing like I'm being called to higher things. And like today at work was hard. To be fair, I woke up at 4, spent time with the Lord, and then I ran 5 miles before work. And then at work, I work at a warehouse now, and I was just moving heavy stuff all day. Like I mean, I was breaking down these piles for the first 2 hours of bamboo, like chopsticks, and they're like 50 pounds a box, and just flipping, tossing them, turning. I'm like, dang, dude, like this is heavy. And then when we would pull loads, like I was picking up like these like 15-gallon detergent things, five
Wow.
gallon detergent things, like these boxes that I don't know why they're so heavy, and just pulling them around the warehouse all day. And then I don't know pretty much where most of the stuff is in the warehouse, and so my mind is just absorbing and like always like trying to think where stuff is, and then I have to humble myself and ask someone, and then feel full because I'm sitting there looking in the spot for like 15 minutes, and then it's right there, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Right. Right.
Um, and so it's a lot. Like it's taken everything, and it's forcing myself to grow and to use my mind and to um, think and be physical and like all these things, and like feeling like the needing hydration and food, and like there it's just the whole thing, like kind of when I was going into the doors, like, and it's cool because I'm going out there in like less than a month now, or almost a month exactly. um and it's just like that feeling of like, oh, like loving the what I'm learning about myself, and catching like old patterns of, oh shoot, like actually, Colby, there's an area where we can work on, and like not allowing the shame to build up, but like, and that's something I literally just had to journal these past like just 20 minutes, just getting stuff out of just recognizing what's going on, because there's so much happening, good fruitful things of just processing of like, okay, like being a man of your word. Like I was there like I should have been there at 6:55. I got there at like 7:07, and just being like, dang, dude, like it. They're very lackadaisical, or not lackadaisical. They're very graceful. Like they're not too uptight about things. But it's more so like being a man of my word. Like it's more so important for me, and like following through with what I said I was going to do, and just being intentional that like these past couple of years in Hawaii has been great, and I needed every single ounce of them. I would never trade them, and I needed the side of the rest. But like tuning things up again with like being very diligent and being like really being intentional about my integrity, and like the things that I say, that taking pride of things that my name's a part of, and it's the private victories. It's just because like I know. They don't need to know, and it may not seem a big deal to them, but it's like a big deal for me. And like just loving those things, and even like how I stack boxes and pull things for people, and like choosing. the hard, like choosing the right thing every time and going the extra mile and realizing like that takes effort. And then it's just recognizing I haven't, like last week was my first like week of actually working. Like I worked like 20 plus hours and I haven't done that. And I've never worked a regular job in my life. And then last week just working at the warehouse and then at the farmer's market, like full time or part time slash, yeah, part time now. Um, and just like getting, where was I going with this? And just getting like realizing um like I'm having to get mentally and emotionally in my endurance up again. Like yes, in my school environment, but when it's active, like I'm working, I'm using mine, and I'm being physical, and it's for financial sake things, and because I haven't done that in a while, and just like to realize it is a muscle, and like I'm getting in shape again, and it's so perfect because I do have this whole month in preparation before the doors. And one, I just feel so detached from financial outcomes and realizing that God's going to take care of me regardless. But to really just fall back in love with how it was when I was like in my first summer, where I was just I don't know, like I'm just being like I just I'm this is just I'm excited for the learning and the growth and realizing like that has to be the heart posture with everything, and then the outcome will be how it is. And knowing what I know now with how God has showed up in my life, like He's a good Father who's going to take care of my needs, and I just going to be playful and fun and go through the suck and learn and do these things with Him and like get to know people and learn about people and then learn about myself. And it's just like I'm building up in that journey again, and there's just so much that's just processing to happen in my life in this current season. Um, and there's just, I'm just in awe. And so, how I'm feeling, I feel a lot better now being able to process things with somebody that, that you're like, I know, like, you're, it's just a safe space for me to process and to filter these things. I know it makes sense to you, and you'll be able to relate and catch things that I'm saying. And um, yeah, and um, so that's where I'm at.
Wow. Well, about 5 to 10 seconds of you beginning to speak, I had a huge state change just because of your energy, and I really appreciate it. And it feels so good to hear your voice, and not just to hear your voice, but also to hear your perspective. And you are so wise for the age that you are. And it's very obvious that you've put in so much work into yourself, and you have become a very beautiful person. And I I love it, man. Like I'm just smiling super super big just listening to you speak, because I've been feeling lonely myself being around my family. They don't really understand me. And it does suck when you are around people that you love and you care about, but you feel lonely because you don't feel that you connect with them. And to hear what it is that you're saying really soothes my heart and my soul so much. And it puts me at ease and rest as well. So just thank you so much for sharing what you have shared, and it has had a impact on me more than you would even think it would. Where are we? 5 minutes into this conversation?
It's like
Yeah,
midnight.
yeah, 9 minutes. That's incredible, man. So thank you so much for sharing what you shared.
Yeah, dude. I thank you for sharing that. That's really awesome. And like I honestly, I just feel like there's honestly so much that I feel like I can share. There's so much that has just been just like, like I'm just I'm blessed with just like the things that have been transpiring, and just like I just feel maturity happening. I feel refinement happening. I feel just like like realizing like how I'm like even seeing myself and how I operate now. I'm like, dang dog, like I don't remember this dude. Like, and it's an internal thing where like I know that it's happening. I believe it's just the work God has been doing in my heart, and like his presence transforming me. but it's just like it's not something I have to muster up to maintain. But yes, there is the stewarding and yielding that this is now a part of just like my DNA and what is it that I do. But I still have to choose that every day, and it to be like flowing. Um, and I, but like to that state of just like I just feel different. Like I know my identity. Like I've had an identity shift, and having the identity shift, it's just like whoa. And I don't even know yet if I have the language for it. And it's just like I'm just now recognizing all the fruits of my labor of the things that have been sowing like for the past 2 years. Realizing like like this is from like 2 years of things.
Yes.
And now it's just like this is like seeing like that's the fruit of this and um yeah, and so it's just cool. And then for you to but yeah, anyways, for you to bring up the book thing, it was just it's just fascinating. Um, and because like when you shared it, like it was just like I don't know, like I'm just open to just seeing what it is, and I would have never like it's been in my thought before like a couple years ago of like how I would want to write books, but I would never assume like right now like I had this preconception that I had to somewhat accomplish things and do this, that, and the other, and just like the thought of like, oh no, like there is like I have the opportunity to be of sense of value for a certain group of people that other people really cannot connect to in a way that I could. Um,
Let me ask
yeah.
you, do you believe that where you are now, if you had a conversation with the Colby that was on the first call with me that first time, do you believe that you would have so much to be able to give to that guy?
Oh my gosh, dude. Like, yeah. Like where I am from the 4 years ago, yeah. I would.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's beautiful because you're 22 years old and I'm sitting here like, wow, a lot of the fruits of my labor began to pay off for me around 25, 26 years old. And 27 was a big year for me as well. And it's incredible just to think about your compound, what you're going to experience. It's going to be nuts. And I do believe that the compound of the work that you have put in on top of what you're already doing already, on top of
Mm-hmm.
being an author, I think about the opportunities that are going to be available to you that wouldn't otherwise be available to you without the label of author over the next 4 or 5 years. I believe that you having this label on top of the work that you're putting on already is going to open up so many doors for you in terms of people who would be more open to having conversations with you and people who are even more impressed with you because one thing that I really leaned on, and I'm sure you are aware of this, is I leaned a lot on the fact that I was a young entrepreneur under 30. And that alone opened up so many doors for me. It's what got me into War Room. It's what got me into Genius Network. It's what got me into Maverick. It's what got me into the Tony Robbins Platinum Partners. Yes, I am somebody who belongs in those environments because of who it is that I am. And it also really helped me that I was under 30. Now, you being under 30 with your work ethic, with who it is that you are, on top of being an author, I think would really serve as a massive launching point for you. And I just think about what kind of opportunities over the next 6 years leading up to you being my age, where that would get you. I mean, dude, we're talking about leaps upon leaps. I've told you this many times before that you are going to surpass me because of your compound effect started earlier and you had me as a coach. You're going to be far more successful than I am in life and I hope that for you. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited to witness it and it's beautiful to see you blossom because I'm like I just think back to where you were in the beginning into the first, 8 minutes of the call, you speaking the way you're speaking, I'm like, oh my gosh, it is very obvious that you put in so much work into yourself.
Mm, mm. Dang, that's a thanks, dude. That's a lot. Wow. Okay. Let me sit and finish my journaling some thoughts. Um,
Yeah, go ahead. Take your time, brother.
and we'll let
There's no
that
rush
sink.
here.
Yeah. Amen. Um, mm,
You're the only person besides my former partner who really knows our like the journey that we went on during that 1 year of travel. Like,
mm,
there's not a single person who knows that more intimately than you do that wasn't like directly involved in it.
yeah. That's so. That's a blessing. I'm. I'm feeling God so much right now. It may be weird, but I just am. Thank you, Lord. I it and it's like it. I sit on it so much, and I like it's such a blessing, like to be able to, and I every time we get out of the phone call and talk to you, and it is like I'm so blessed to have been exposed. Like I am, I'm like that is a gift God has given me, and He
Yeah.
like through your life and you being so open to it, and I know um that like it's just it's only like everything that's in my life is overflowing into your life, and I firmly believe that, and I pray into that, and just to like release what God is doing to me, and that's something I actually want to partner with stronger now with like with even one of your last sayings, about how one like that I will go further than you, and but just to like that is such a heart posture of humility, and the humility on your life to be able to be like, oh shoot, like let Kobe stand on my shoulders to go like further in this direction, and to like let me launch you into that, and just to realize like, oh shoot, like that is what real greatness is for me to go lower to the next person and be like, maybe my kid, or maybe it be like another. I meet a young guy where I'm like, shoot, you dog, go further, and pour into them the way you've poured into me, to share the wisdom and to cut back the time, um, and like realizing like that is like the fruitfulness of life, and that's like relationships, and like having that like for you, I can't even imagine like to it's hitting on me now for you to see who I was the first call, and then to see the whole thing happen to the same way like I've seen your everything unfold and happen like that. Like what we have, both our own perspectives on each other's life, is like that's golden. Like like that's
Yeah,
like wild, dude.
it's
To
beautiful.
see the things blossom and the transform and the twists, the turns, and the wisdom, and like being intimate as we are, to share the nooks and the grannies, and like what's actually happened in real time, and processing and revealing the story, and then the way how God has made us to be, open minded and brilliant and curious and aware, and to question things, and to um, think beyond just the typical, like and going deeper.
Yeah.
It just like it for me, it's just been like this just story of just this really cool movie or story that I'm watching um, unfold. But yeah,
Dude,
that's
you got to receive my education with me, bro.
it's all about education. Hmm. Yeah, like
I'm so glad that you have that, bro. Like, you like real time listening to me like problem solve. And it's not just, me pouring into you, but you also helped me out tremendously financially throughout the years. But not just financially, but you also really helped me grow as a coach. I couldn't have asked for a better pupil because I had all of these thoughts and I had all of these things that needed to kind of be released in a beneficial way. And releasing it on social media would not have been the most, effective way that would really soothe my soul. I
Mm,
poured all of it into you. I know I
mm,
also had my podcast. I poured a lot into my podcast as well. And I also poured a lot into my morning hustlers. I don't want to discount those things.
yeah.
Um, however, during the travel specifically, I wasn't podcasting as much, and I didn't have the morning hustlers anymore. And like the fact that you're so gifted with your questions, you're so gifted with your presence and your listening abilities. I mean, it really filled me up so much. It really brought so much
Mm,
joy to my life as well, just to be able to coach to
mm,
somebody who was willing to listen and receive it with gratitude.
mm. That's fascinating. Um, that's really awesome. Um, yeah, that's that's cool.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what I'm thinking of when it comes to the book.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll have the conversation, see yeah, we'll just brainstorm, just have the conversation. So, what people tend to think when it comes to a book is they want to be a New York Times bestseller.
Yeah.
And they think about all of this stuff. They think about their book selling so many copies. They think of their book, having thousands of reviews online. And I don't want to discount that. I think that's fantastic. And I think that that is very powerful. And if you can make it happen, absolutely. Um, for the most part, for a lot of people, that's not necessarily the case. We hear about these people like James Clear and Hal Elrod and Darren Hardy. However, there's a lot of people who publish books and don't get that same kind of recognition.
Mhm.
What we want to use the book to do is very similar to the podcast that I had. And it's also like a degree. Back in the days, people went to college and a degree meant a lot because not many people had degrees. And nowadays, having a degree is kind of like, it doesn't make you special whatsoever.
Mm,
It's the same thing. Whereas before, with like the verified check mark on Instagram used to mean something, now it's become commodified. It's easier, it carries less value because people who have maybe 1,000 followers has a verified tick. It's like it takes away the value from it. However, author, how many authors do you know, Colby?
um, only like a handful. Like maybe, well, my one hand. My uncle's an author.
That's beautiful.
You. Uh, yeah.
Right. And so what that does is it gives you credibility, and what it does is it opens up doors. And the word author is the majority word in the word authority.
Mm,
So, mainly what the way I see it with you is I'm just thinking about the compound effect. I'm thinking about your life long term, you having a book attached to your name, and the because what we want, what a college degree promises, what a bunch of followers promises, what we're all really looking for at the end of the day is better opportunities. We're all
mhm,
looking for that, right? We all just want to create better opportunities. But what does like better opportunities mean?
mm,
Well, I'll give you an example about how my book created better opportunities for me. And we actually had this conversation. You're actually the one that made me realize this about the fact that my dream was to be a stand-up comedian, and now it's like, wow, I get to be immersed in the world of comedy now and sit front row, and I get to connect with comedians, and that opportunity is very specific to me. And
mm,
just as you mentioned with the private victories, right? They may not know that it's to the outside. They don't know that, you're having these private victories, but they don't need to know because you're just like, "Oh my gosh, I get to live this life that feels so good for me." And I don't necessarily need to shout from the rooftops about this. I don't need to make other people know about this.
mm,
It feels good to just be able to live my life because my life is designed and is specifically tailored to my likes, my talents. It gets rid of the opportunities that aren't for me, and I
mm,
get to enjoy my time. And that's where the richness of this is our time, because we like I want to have as much richness in my time as I possibly can, because that's all I really have in life is my time.
mhm,
And I want to spend as much time as I possibly can with opportunities that are for me, and as little opportunities as I possibly can with opportunities that aren't for me. Now, what what I'm talking about here when it comes to the book, the way that I'm looking at it is, this is what's really awesome, man. So, about 100 years ago in advertising, it was very common for people to print out ads for their
mhm,
products. And some people would have ads that are 20 pages plus. And what and that was very effective. People made a lot of money through print advertising. Nowadays, everything is advertised online, which means print advertising is wide open. Nobody is in that space. Nobody is handing printed stuff to people. So it stands out. It stands out over, hey, check out my YouTube. It stands out over, check out my Instagram. It stands out over, I have a podcast. When you hand someone a physical copy, it's like, whoa, this is different because nobody's doing it. And it's
mhm,
effective. And especially this generation, the younger generation, we have never been exposed to print advertising like that. You
mhm,
know what I'm saying? So it makes it that much powerful. Um, and This helps me also be able just to, the biggest thing is like, I don't want to spend any time around opportunities that aren't for me. This book is, at the end of the day, what it is at its core is, it's an advertisement for Colby. It's your advertisement. It is, this is who it is that I am at my fullest. And what that does is it brings in the opportunities that you really want, that are really for you, right? You love God, you love Jesus, man. Like, that's beautiful. You love personal development. Well, what about connecting with those people who are also like that, who are like, oh my gosh, I absolutely love this? Those are the people that we want to connect with, right? Those are the people that we want to be around. So, by expressing yourself to the maximum within, under 40 pages or something like that, you basically printing out an ad that is, you can say, disguises, I don't know. It's a book because it's literally a book.
mhm,
And what it does is it's able to open up opportunities for you. And that's what we're looking for, is getting this into the hands of the people that you wouldn't be able to connect with otherwise. So I'll give you another example. Do you know who Dion Cole is?
no.
So Dion Cole is currently the guy who's in the Old Spice commercials.
Okay.
And he has won a couple awards on TV, and he has several Netflix stand-up specials. And a very funny guy. I love Dion Cole. And I actually saw him live like 10 years ago at the Laugh Factory. I've seen him live several times after that as well. But check this out. I was like, okay, I want to get into the comedy world. So I messaged my mentor, Craig. I said, Craig, I'm thinking about applying for a job over at the Comedy Store in Hollywood. Now, the Comedy Store has been like a big training ground for huge big name comedians. Like Jim Carrey started off as a door guy at the Comedy Store. Jay Leno, David Letterman. Just there's like so many people. I think I don't maybe Eddie Murphy. I could be wrong about that. But I do know like Eddie Murphy used to go to the Comedy Store a lot when he was doing stand-up comedy. Anyway, I was like, okay, I want to be around other creatives who are working hard. So I messaged Craig and I said, "Hey, what do you think about this strategy in terms of going to the comedy store and handing a copy of my book to a manager and seeing if I can get hired on the spot?" He said, "Hey, I know somebody who's been putting on comedy shows for the last 20 years. Let me just introduce you to him." I
Mm.
was like, "Wow, absolutely. Like, sounds great." So he introduces me to this guy. His name is Jay Davis. And Jay has a comedy show every Monday and Tuesday at a Japanese restaurant in Hollywood called Yamashiro. Yamashiro is a very popular restaurant. As a matter of fact, they shot the movie Kill Bill there.
Mm.
It's, oh man, great food and also a great room. So I meet with Jay and his partner Troy, and I give them both a copy of my book. They absolutely fall in love with it, just on the title alone. Fall in love with it. That night, during the comedy show, Dion Cole walks into the room as a surprise guest. Now, he didn't go do comedy, but he was an attendee in this room, and there's like less than 20 people in this room. I get up to go use the bathroom and I run into Jay's partner, Troy, on the way to the restroom. He goes, "Hey man, did you get a copy of your book to Dion?" I said, "Hey man, like Dion, I don't know him like that. I didn't want to interrupt him while he's watching the comedy show." He goes, "Man, go grab a copy of a book, of one of your books." I head back inside. I sign the copy. I say, "Dion, thank you so much for sharing your art with the world." And I sign my name. I go back to Troy. I hand him the copy. We walk into the comedy room. I go and I sit on the couch that's next to Dion's, not on the same couch as Dion's. And Troy has my book face down and he's whispering in Dion's ear. He then shows Dion the cover of the book, and Dion smiles ear to ear. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this." He's like, "Whoa." He's genuinely amazed. Troy signals over at me. He's looking at me while he's whispering in his ear. And Dion looks at me and he gives me this look like mad respect. Like, "That's awesome, man. Great job." Well, I actually had tickets to see Dion Cole a couple days later.
Mm.
So I was sitting in the front, and at the end of the show, he's taking like a video to post on social media. And I show him the cover of the book. And he looks at me, it catches his eye, he lights up, and I said, "Dion, did you like the book?" He goes, "Yes, dude, you did a great job with that." And that just meant the world to me. And not only that, but you ever watch The Office?
Yeah.
You remember, Daryl, black
Daryl.
guy with the afro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was performing stand up near like by where I live. He's about to walk off stage, bro. I hand him a copy of my book. He looks at it, he laughs, he shows the audience, they laugh, he walks off stage. Now, this is what I'm saying. How else would I have ever how else would I be able to connect with them? A business card? I mean, that wouldn't do it. But having a book, in terms of opportunities, nothing has come from that. But just the experience of that is worth it 100%. And all I'm looking for is one person who's like, "I love this so, so, so much." I already have that. Jay and Troy, Jay, he's been putting on comedy shows in Hollywood for the last 26 years. He put Joe Coy on stage, Burt Kreischer, Dane Cook, Ali Wong, just like a bunch of like big name comedians, and he saw them on their rise, and they were working out material on his stages, and he has the relationship capital and he loves it. And I plan on going to his Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday shows more often because they promote my book for me. They're
Mm.
handing copies of my book to comedians and handing it to audience members.
Mm.
I have raving fans, but the point is like, how else would I have been able to do that to that level? And I would love to see that with you in terms of the kind of leaders that you're looking for in your life that are huge Jesus lovers. You know, people who are also authors of their own book, and you guys are having conversations, and then you get to get mentorship from them. You get to learn from them. They're the ones that are passing out your book. They become your champions. And the fact that you're so young and you're so ambitious and you have that energy, man, having that book is going to be, I firmly believe is going to provide so many rich opportunities for you throughout the years. And what this book does is it brings in the right opportunities for you, but what it does is it also helps serve as the thing that is the your momentum, your movement builder, right? Because you want to contribute, you want to help. And what this does is it serves as your launch pad. It helps you build your movement so that when you actually write a book that is a lot more in depth and a lot more meaningful, just as you mentioned, maybe you update it in 10 years. Now that's where we really, get to see like the book sales come in. We're not prioritizing book sales with this. We're prioritizing opportunities with people who have experience that we can really learn from and grow with that can also bring in other lucrative opportunities that are very specific and very tailored to us.
Mm, wow. Um, that's one. That's amazing to see what has transpired since the last time we talked with your book and the opportunities and the doors and just seeing how things are unfolding. Like it's amazingly fascinating and awesome to see. And it's just, yeah, um, like that's wild. And yeah, huh? It makes sense. Like, but and I kind of like I guess like to even I guess to just really think about like what it is like ultimately like I would love like a big desire of mine is to connect with the greatest minds in the world and just to have conversations with them. I think that's like my biggest like awe. Like that would be so much fun just to connect with people and to share and to just get to know them. And ultimately like realizing that I can leverage my gifts in those manners, but recognizing that the door, like the book gives me like a door in to be able to like for them to even allow me that opportunity to talk to them. Um, but to even like get in there, yeah. Honestly, there I can feel like some parts of me. I don't want to say scared, but it's just like it's the unknown of like I don't like some of the stuff. Like I hear it real time for you, but I'm like I don't see how that would like line up in my life if that makes sense. But it's
Right.
just because thinking like who are those people, and there's like some, but yeah,
And exactly. And I don't know what that looks like either, right? Because
yeah.
it's very specific for you.
Mm,
And it's scary because I can't get on this phone and tell you, no, man, I'm telling you, because I don't. Because it's your own thing that is your own purest, fullest, authentic expression of who it is that you are. And your very own specific doors are going to open up to you. So, yeah, it is unknown. I like, bro, it's unknown to me still, for me.
mm, mm,
But that's the grandest adventure, man. It's like I'm actually getting to live a life that's very specific for me. And it's cool because I was listening to a podcast with Will Smith and Rick Rubin, and Will Smith had mentioned that he had done a bunch of movies and he was like extremely successful and he needed some help. So he called up his good friend Quincy Jones, and Will told him all things he got going on. You know, he released Men in Black 2. He had all these things going on for him, and he was doing things no one ever done before. And he asked Quincy for help, and Quincy said, "Man, what the hell am I gonna tell you, bro? Like, you are the only person in history who's ever done this. Every decision you make is being made for the first time. No one's ever done this. And it's like, whoa. And that's how it is for me as well. No one's ever written a book like this before for me. So it's like just like no one's ever wrote the Real Nigga Bible. So every decision that I'm making is the decision that's being made for the first time ever in history. Of course, there are other books that are controversial that may have some similarities, but in terms of like the specifics, like this is my own very own specific life.
Mm, mm. It's interesting, because I kind of shared in the voice, of how like even so, like I think it's just it it would be a unique opportunity for my market to be even like ideal people to read it would be younger men, like people around my age and younger, and
Yeah.
it's not even the essence of like me promising this life of like all these great material things that I can tangibly be like, look what I have. But it's more so the person that I've become and the experiences that I've had and the wisdom and the fruit of what it is. But it's like it is that playing long term and it's betting on myself and where's it that I'm gonna be at and just sharing like this is like the road to get onto the road that you want to get onto, of living that fulfilled, authentic, purpose filled, purpose driven life, um, and like building your own foundations. And it's just unique. I see it as the unique of like I'm literally the step ahead of them, um, to help them like be that bridging gap. And then that's where it's like the fulfilling aspect to me is because like, oh, like that is unique in itself, but then like seen as the leveraging to then be able to like get it into people's hands and to like who knows, what how like what comes from that. And like maybe people read it, maybe it gets me into doors with people. Like I guess like that's the
Yeah. And that's all that's exactly what you're mentioning is also like the beauty of it, right? Because, you know, it would feel good, I'd imagine, hearing somebody say, "Hey, I read your book and oh my gosh, it was so great." And they find it very valuable. And you're also able to do something in terms of like you're able to like contribute. And it's so awesome hearing people tell me like, "Dude, your book is hilarious. It's so hilarious." And I'm like, "Bro, that's so awesome." For me, that part is the bonus. It could be for you that that's the main priority or like that feels really good and the connections are the bonus, whatever it might feel, but like it's like you created something that like provides a lot of value and also provides better opportunities.
mm,
And people don't throw away a book, bro. People forget about a YouTube video. People forget about, Instagram reel or whatever it is. But
yeah,
people don't throw away books.
yeah, and like you wherever you got the book, like it's marked, like you see, if especially if someone gave it to you, like they'll imprint it in their mind a picture with it, and it holds a story of like a day and a moment in time, and it really just it's a treasure.
Yeah.
Mm, that's fascinating. And so you thought like all this came up about even me thinking of writing a book, from just your past, your recent experiences with what you've been seeing within your own life.
Bro, if I wrote a book when I was your age, my goodness. But at the same time, I'll be honest, I don't know if I was ready for it. I don't know if I was as mature as you are at your age. You're extremely mature based on like the way you're speaking, but who knows, maybe like if my mentor Greg had said, "No, dude, like you are ready to write one," then perhaps and if he helped me out, then like okay, that would have been very helpful. But like the thing that I'm thinking of is like, dang, bro. I mean, like 22 years old and just who it is that you are, I'm like that like
Mm,
I can see the path in terms of you surpassing me. Like you adding this to your repertoire with with the education you've received on top of like my help when it comes to like getting it into the right hands based on how I got big name podcast guests before in the past, and not just that, but how I'm getting my book into people's hands.
Mhm.
My goodness, I mean, dude, when you get my age, I mean, like you're gonna be in a position like I'm telling you, dog, and I'm like Colby. I had that lifetime, once in a lifetime opportunity with Richard Branson, 2 years ago, and I'm
Mhm.
like, bro, I wasn't even an author, bro. And like I
Mhm.
had that opportunity. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
yo, I'm saying like, yo, dude, the success you will have, my friend. I don't think that there's anything that can really, really take you to that next level. Like that would be the most, I think this could be the most beneficial thing that you can possibly do right now that will help really launch you in your 20s.
Mhm. And maybe explain to me, like, I guess, because I guess it's like just explain again, like, why is that so with being an author? Like, I get that it's like your degree, and it's like it gives me some form of like a label to be like, oh, he's an author, and but maybe like I'm skewed in my like even framework on how I just view that of like, oh, you're an author that you just wrote a book, but I guess like maybe I don't see the value and the
Hmm.
significance, and I'm just ignorant of just like I want to understand and of like why it is such a leverage and tool, and why it is so valuable, and how people actually esteem it with value and honor it, and not just be like just brush it off. Obviously there will be some people that do just
Of
whatever, but
course.
like, what is the grander like gathering that you've gotten around people who see that someone has wrote a book? Because that's more like,
Hmm.
that better than I do, but yet that's something I guess my mind's not gripping with.
Yeah. So for me, the everything boils down to people are always asking themselves the question, who can I trust?
Mm,
Everybody's asking themselves that question. Like, I can I trust this person? I don't know. And the thing is, we don't make decisions based on logic. We make them based on emotions. And our lizard brain is the part of the brain that is responsible for like decision making. That's why you're like, like this sounds good, but like I don't know. Like that's the lizard brain that's like, I don't know. Like, so what
mm,
you want to do is as fast as you can, you want to bypass that lizard brain, right? You know how it is when you're knocking on doors, right? People are like, I don't know, even if it's right for them. It's their lizard brain. But when you have that sense of credibility, what it does is it cuts through all of the noise.
mm,
You're an author. And not only are you an author, you're in your early 20s as an author. And that is what gives you like that kind of star power where people say, "Wait a second." You bypass that brain in terms of part of the brain like, "I don't know," where it's like, "Wait, hold on. Let me who is this person? Like what?
mm,
What have you done?" And it
mm,
opens that conversation. And that's the value is the authority. It's getting past the gatekeepers, which is the lizard brain
yeah.
in the mind.
Mm,
And I'm talking specifically about partnerships. I'm talking specifically around about getting to like like I currently work at Chili's, and my manager, he was talking to me whatever, and on the interview process, and then he asked me why I left my last job because I was like, well, I went all in on basically being an author. And he's like, "Oh yeah, what's your book?" I slap my business card on the table. It just has the title of my book, and on the backside it has a QR code. And he hired me. It's like, okay, I don't need to like because everybody's trying to figure out who are people really? Who
mm,
is this person really? And yeah, you can get to know that through time, But do people have that much time to try to figure out? You want people to really be able to make that decision as fast as possible because time is of the essence. You can't replenish your time. Like, would you rather spend a lunch or two, like trying to convince all, or have someone make a decision whether or not they want to connect with you within 5 seconds?
mm,
That's what we want. And we want to bring in the opportunities that are for us as fast as we possibly can and immediately eliminate all decisions, all opportunities that aren't for us. That includes people and financial opportunities.
see.
And
Uh,
it's a tool that saves you years of time of not being around the wrong people.
um, um, so I guess like brainstorming, just I like realms of it. Like, what would it just be like stories of my life that I've gathered? Like, I would take like the five biggest takeaways that I've had and maybe share like
So
from that.
so with this, I would highly encourage you to speak with God about.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. I My personal belief is that God speaks to me through exciting emotions. God's leading me through where am I being lit up? What's exciting for me? Cuz that's what we want, right? We want that to carry throughout the book. You
Mhm.
want it to be an energy rich experience because like what is this all about, right? It's all about the process. We want to always do our best to enjoy the process, and this gets you on the track in terms of being involved in a process that you enjoy because it's very specific to you because it lights you up.
Mm, mhm. Mm,
But yeah, like talk to God like, "Hey, what is it?" And then like feel it out, man. And that's the exciting part.
mm.
Like making it emotionally rich.
Yeah, I think that's I was thinking about too. Like, people would be able to feel the authenticity, and it not just being words on paper.
Exactly. People can feel it, right?
Yeah, you'd be able to sense it. Mm, it's fascinating. Um, mm, yeah, it's cool. I was having some thoughts while I was running today of like how I would like. I know what my final chapter would be, but mm,
And yeah, dude, that's the beauty of the creative process is it evolves, right?
mm,
Like pulling out, your laptop and just writing down like, "Oh man, this feels good. This is exciting. Yes, I would love this." I have I have a mentor of mine, Elliot. I told you about Elliot, right?
yeah.
Did I tell you about how Elliot, when he first decided to write his book, he started writing it together with Ryan Holiday.
You maybe mentioned something of it, but I forget.
So first thing that Ryan had Elliot do was they went to Barnes and Noble together, and they just picked up books off of the shelves. And what they did was like really showed Elliot is like, hey man, there's a million ways you can do this in terms of writing a book. The way that I wrote my book, it's like the Ten Commandments of how to be a real nigga. Like that is a very specific way of writing a book. But like it's also kind of similar to how Joe Polish wrote Life Gives to the Giver. I liked that way of it because it is very easy to read
Oh,
and it was also very valuable. And it was like headline, you had the concept, and then you had, specific you just had a little passage on it. It didn't have to be something that was like super, super elaborate. And um, that's why it was so easy for me to read Life Gives to the Giver like 6 times
mm,
because it was just like that. So Really, it's what speaks to you, man. If you want to tell stories, yes, so you can do that. Or you can just like lay out what are like the most powerful principles. And you can also tell stories within that too, you know? But yeah, I know. I think throughout this process, God will speak through you, and God will help you write this book. That's how I feel. Because I'll tell you what, I'm surprised that I wrote this book as well. Like, I never planned to write this book. I
Mm,
never planned to write this book. I was writing a completely different book. And all of a sudden, I'm the author of this book. Um, but I just, I just went with the flow. Like, this feels good. This feels right. Let's just move with this. And the process of it was unbelievably fun.
mm.
Unbelievably fun.
Roger that. I actually have a book on my desk. It's called Acres of Diamonds. And it's only 41 pages. But it was originally it's a guy's sermon that he talks about, but he put it in book form. But I like to. It's cool. 40-page book.
Yeah, and Jay Davis, the comedy guy, he was so excited about the book. He goes, "Finally, a book I can read!" Because it's like it's so short. And it's fascinating because my jujitsu coach said the same thing. He goes, "I love how it's so short." He's like, "I can just read this, while I'm in line somewhere or like as I wait, for something really quick."
Yeah.
And there's not this big commitment. And think
Yeah.
about like Dion Cole read my book. If I handed Dion Cole a 322-page book, I I don't think he would have read it, you know? I think he would appreciate the kind gesture, but the fact that it was short, and even John Sonmez, he was like, "Man, I was gonna skim through this, but I ended up reading the whole thing aloud."
That's awesome. Huh. Yeah, dude. That's fascinating. It's something I'm gonna sit with and just see like if that's something I should pursue right now, or if it's just something that I can just like it doesn't have to be a deadline, but like something I can just work on periodically for the next year or so, and just trust the timing of it. But I would love the process of just like that creative journey of thinking it out and being with him and just finding putting my words into play and just the skill set of being able to articulate my thoughts and ideas. Because it's honestly I have a desire I have a desire so strongly of I want to share, but like most of the time people are not keeping up. Nor honestly, it's because I don't get asked questions a lot. Like people are not prying into me, which is fascinating. And just to recognize like that is something that I want, and obviously I do it, but it's just because I love learning, but I know it also like I love loving like that's how I love people is to get to know them like that and just like that, like I want to actually know what's going on and to see it and believe and all those things, but to like well this is an ability or an opportunity for me to at least just capture and to work on that and to be able to have statements and abilities to just um, put thoughts down. And I really don't, as much as I would like to, like have be willing to pour out as much as I would want to, but I will in the future. Like I know that's something in my path.
Hmm.
Or
Yeah. One thing that's interesting is the identity shift of being an author. It's it's definitely it changes how you see yourself because you get surprised by how people react to you when you say that you are an author. It's a big deal to others, surprisingly, because I'm still the same guy, but they're like, "Oh my gosh." And I'm also thinking in terms of timeline wise of a year of time makes a massive difference in terms of the opportunities that you have. Um, being an author versus not being an author. And the what I had in mind is something of like a bit of a like immersion. Because like it only took me like 2 to 3 weeks to write my book,
Mhm.
and it takes, I don't know, like a week or two to get published, and it's really easy to get published on Barnes and Noble. I would highly recommend Barnes and Noble only because people really associate credibility to Barnes and Noble, and
Yeah.
it's like, what the heck? But yeah, I would recommend getting this done sooner rather than later because a year of compound makes a massive difference.
Yeah. And it's fair, and I see that, but I just like it's my last 3 weeks of second year of ministry school, and then I'm going straight in the doors, like straight into it. And so, and then I'm working after school, and so like that just
Yeah,
practically
I hear you.
priorities of what's going on and where is it that I want to give my heart to, and that's where if it is something like I can work on it in the mornings or in the evening times, and just do what I can with the time I have.
Hmm.
Uh, and yeah,
Well, yeah, timing is 100% everything, and I am at least happy that I got to plant the seed for you,
yeah,
because my like Colby as an author, bro, I would love to witness that journey.
that would be cool. Like I would never think of doing it at 22 years old. And I was listening to this um, video today about this guy just going through Proverbs in the Bible, and just how God oftentimes like he has us do things that it's required of full dependency and trust on Him. That is not in our own ability to do these things, but it's our ability for Him to be glorified through us is doing the things that we won't be able to accomplish on our own. Um, and then you talked like you brought up the author thing, and this could be it. It could not be it, but it's just like it's one of those things. Like if it's truly something like, and I feel peace about it, and that's like a very big driving force for me is to follow the peace. And so I appreciate just the seed and thought because I would have like and even the simplicity of it, like it doesn't have to be long. Like the ideal is to make it concise as possible. And it's funny we did this activation in school. Um, we were activating like childlikeness and we created this first year group created like this like we wanted to write our testimony in a little short story book. And mine's called Curious Colby, the adventure of finding life. And it's like a couple pages of paper stapled together. But it's super short, but it was also really fun and powerful. In realizing like I'm gonna be able to read it in kids' church. I think next week,
Wow.
uh, and just to realize like just the concept that it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like honestly, the simpler the better. To just get the point like straight across, and if if my heart's actually in it, like it'll be felt and people will appreciate it, and not just feeling like oh it is this huge commitment of picking up like 7 habits of highly effective people where I'm like every 2 pages I'm like oh my gosh dude there's so much that I could just ensure. Um, so it's good. Thanks, dude.
Of course, brother. Of course. Just sharing the value, my man, because I'm very grateful for my life to be where it is. It does come with like, I am stressed out, but I'll tell you what, dude, I I know I have a tool that can really provide me with financial independence. And like, I believe in this so much in terms of my book. And I just know that I'm one relationship away. I just need to get it into the right hands. So one thing that I'm working on right now is like a Dream 100.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's going to be a lot more than just a Dream 100. It's going to be a list of, I don't even know, but it's going to be well over 100, very possibly well over 200. And I have a good friend of mine who is very successful, and I plan on creating a business plan because it does also cost money to print books. It costs like $1.81 to print my book, but also with like shipping and handling, things can add up. And I want 1,000 copies of my book so I can be able to pass them out when I go to like Jay's comedy shows, and also mail them to people and like direct message people on Instagram, and also email people who are like guests on Joe Rogan's podcast, or like people who are like comedians that I really want to get this in the hands of, and sending them copies. And so I'm putting together a business plan of like, okay, like here's how I'm going to ensure that you make your money back. Because it does come out to 2,500 bucks of ordering 1,000 copies of the book, with like shipping and handling and all that kind of stuff. But like that is like fun, learning how to figuring out how to like leverage my network as well, leveraging it for capital, and learning like how to put together like something to pitch somebody with. And it does put me in a position where it's like I am having to use everything that I've learned before in the past. Of I'm having to leverage my knowledge of sales. I'm having to leverage my knowledge of marketing. I'm leveraging my skills of connecting, leveraging my skills of public speaking, leveraging the network that I've built, leveraging the fact that I love to document and I've been posting on YouTube. And it's
Yeah.
really cool because I get to leverage all of the things that I've put the work in for the last 9 years, and I'm using all of them together to help push this thing forward. And that is really cool, dude. I love that. So, um, this has been like the longest month of my life. I'm like, dude,
Mm,
I'm posting a YouTube video a day. I'm
mm,
like I'm putting together the Dream 100. I'm problem solving. I'm going to like I'm eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like I'm hopping on calls like like this one, and I had another call before,
mm,
and it's like okay, like what else? Like I want to pick up Alex Hermosi's book, $100 million offers, and like putting together an offer that would like help push me over the edge so I can quit Chili's.
mm.
It's it's cool, dude. I really enjoy it.
That's amazing. I just love your melody of heart for everything. Of like how you see people, but then even like circumstances of going back and getting another job, but then just loving the process. Like, uh, that's huge. That's very exciting. I'm excited for the next time I talk to you. I'm like, oh shoot, dude, all this is gonna happen again. Um, um, that's so cool. Hmm. I'm about to go and make some more food, but I have a final question.
Shoot.
Okay, one fruit for the rest of your life. What are you choosing?
You said one food?
Fruit.
Oh, one fruit for
Fruit.
the rest of my life?
Yeah.
The first thing that came to mind is banana.
Mm. Have you ever had apple bananas?
Apple? No, I never had an apple banana.
Really?
No, I never even heard of
I
apple
wonder if it's
bananas.
just a Hawaiian thing. Um, it's like they're like shorter bananas. They have a different taste than apple bananas, but they're like half the size of a regular banana. Um,
I may have seen them in the grocery store. I've seen smaller bananas.
yeah.
Is that what those are?
Well, they're kind of smaller, chunkier, smaller, thicker. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think I
I,
know what you're talking about. I've seen them, but I've never got them because I just felt like that's weird.
it's fair. It is weird. They're okay
But
though.
they're delicious?
I mean, they're good. Um, yeah. I would say be open to try them. Yeah.
Okay, wow. Well, I mean, what a turn my day has taken.
uh,
Wow, I never thought I would actually reconsider those little bananas I see in the store.
Yeah, I like. Trust me, dude. My friend was in them. I was like, what are you eating? And he was like, apple banana. I was like, why do they call them apple banana? And then I have my one people that I go to school with. They have an apple banana tree. I'm like, interesting, bro. We have a mango tree, and I just have been chowing down on
Wow.
mangoes,
Dude,
like
what?
fresh.
Is it super juicy?
Yeah, dude.
Oh
I'm
my,
cutting up one right now,
my
and I was
mouth
like,
is,
dang.
I'm salivating, bro. That sounds amazing. Dude, did you know there's like 2,000 different forms of mangoes?
That's why God. What were you thinking?
I don't know if the number is 2,000, but there's a tremendous amount of variations of mangoes.
Wow,
For sure, like at the very least, like hundreds.
I believe it, bro. Have you ever heard of like Salad Master cooking stuff?
No.
They're like 5,000. My auntie just bought like a 5,000 cooking set of pots and pans.
Really?
Um, and they, yeah, lifetime warranty. Um, but you don't need like butter or oil to cook anything.
No way.
Uh, yeah, and you can create like fried chicken, boiled eggs without like water, and it's fascinating.
Whoa.
Uh,
What?
yeah, yeah,
That's that is
and,
fascinating.
and it's like it's more expensive than your car. And I was like, I got my car for free, so anything. But I was like, yeah, okay,
Yeah. Anyway, man. Well, brother, I love you tremendously, man.
love you
It's good
too.
to chat with you
Yeah,
and reach out if you ever need anything. You want to talk some stuff through, man. I'm here for you, brother.
yeah. Thank you so much. Like it's really a pleasure, dude. Like I'm blessed beyond measure, and I'll forever thank God. Yes and amen.
Yes and
Hold it
amen.
down.
All right, my man. Love you. Have a great night, my man.
Bye bye.
Take care. Oh man, it's been such a pleasure to be part of his journey, and I really think he's very fortunate that like he would invest in coaching while I was traveling the world. Even before I traveled the world, he started investing in coaching, I believe in December of 2019, and I started traveling. No, no, not the end of 2019. I think he invested in coaching at the end of 2020. And then he and I worked as coach and coachee, whatever, a coach and student for like 2 years. And he he witnessed that whole thing, and he got to receive my education with me and to be able to experience it while I was experiencing it, and to get to learn the lessons that I was learning in a consolidated way, because I can give you overall lessons that I've learned from my travels. However, there's nothing like that real time of the all the little stories that don't carry the potency that they carried in the moment, and the lessons that I was learning while I was learning them. And yeah, he was 20 years old listening to these very powerful stories and learning these very powerful lessons while I was learning them at 25, 26 years old. Okay, so he didn't invest. The next question is, now what? So I reached out to a a manager that I wanted to work as a bartender for at a really cool restaurant in a neighboring city of mine, and I didn't have enough experience as a bartender to get hired onto the staff. So I just messaged her before I started working at Chili's and I said, "Hey, are you still hiring?" And she texted me back today saying, "Is this Greg Santos?" So it's possible that she may have an opening. And just as I mentioned, I am okay with putting in the work in the meantime. If I have to be scrappy for every single dollar that I make, so be it. At the same time, of course, I'm going to leverage my network, right? In terms of hopping on these calls, seeing if we can make something happen, because I would rather not work these jobs and have the money to be able to work 100% on the business. However, if I'm not there, then I'm not there. If I have to put in the elbow grease and the sweat to make it happen, so be it. So I will message her back tomorrow and say, yes, this is Greg Santos. And it is possible that I may get hired. And if I do so, put in the work for a couple months, a month, 2 months, 3 months, something like that. Continue on with my YouTube and, you know, continue just like send my books and just work my fucking ass off to make it happen. I've worked my ass off many, many, many times in my life, and I'll do it again. If all else fails, there's always hard work. So, how do I feel about my friend not investing? It is what it is, you know? I don't think it really serves me to be upset or disappointed or anything like that. For me, I do my best, and I'm not the best at this all the time, but I always do my best to not argue with reality. Oftentimes, we suffer more because we have a emotion about what reality is. Usually, when it's not what we want it to be, we argue with it. I want it to be this. It's like, well, this is what it is. And I think we can have a lot more joy and happiness if we just say, okay, well, this is where we're at then. I accept it because this helps me out in terms of my decision making moving forward. It doesn't do me good to sit in anger or sadness or frustration or anything like that. Now, I'm a human being. That happens. And I get caught up in the tornado of it all. And I argue with reality. I want it to be something other than it is. And I forget about this concept of acceptance in the moment. However, right now, where I'm at right now, it's easy for me to come into acceptance because it's not life or death, you know? It's not like I don't have a job. I do have a job. And I'm very grateful that I have a job. So, okay, I'm glad I'm getting paid. And we'll see, you know? Who am I to think that, you know, with other there's so much things that can happen, man. There's so much more information. There's a conversation that I can have. There's an idea that I can have. There's a whole different person who might reach out to me in my life. There's so many different things that can happen here. And who knows? The only thing I want to do my best at is just being present and being grateful for what life has presented me and move forward from there. So, we still got a lot of work to do. Such is life, such is business, entrepreneurship. You're going to hear no's. And what do? You just keep pushing, just keep moving forward, keep looking for solutions. I always think back to when I took Tony Robbins's Personal Power 2. He talked about two different kinds of people in this world. There are people who are problem oriented, who only focus on the problem, and there are people who are solution oriented, who put all their focus towards a solution. Be a person who's solution oriented. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. And then we'll see. You know, I may pitch the person, my friend, who could invest in 1,000 copies for the book, and it's very possible that they say no. So, what do? More sweat equity, more work. And at the end of the day, I'll only be working like 40 hours a week. There are people who work 80-hour weeks. There are people who work the time of two full time jobs. I always wonder how they did that. But even just putting in an hour a day towards something that's important in terms of the business, that's 7 hours a week. That's 30 hours a month. That's that's a lot of good time there. And at the same time, what's the rush? I'm 28 years old. I'm still very young. And I have my whole life to promote this book and to make something happen of it. So we'll see. We'll see what unravels. And I know that the universe has its own plans for me. And I'm very grateful for our conversation because, he leans a lot into faith with God. And it just reminds me to lean more into faith as well with whatever it is that I perceive as God, source, the universe, whatever it may be. But to lean more into that because I'm always exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm always exactly on the precise timetable that I'm meant to be on. Always. I look back on my life on moments where I wish that something had worked out or I wish that it was different, but it actually turned out to be like really good for me. And I wouldn't change it for anything else. Like I even think about like the domestic violence. I'm so grateful for the domestic violence because it helped me be more attuned to people's energy. It helped me be a better reader of people. And it also led me to jujitsu. And my life changed because of jujitsu. Like how I feel about myself, how I move through this world. So I may not see the bigger picture right now, but just reminding myself to like trust and be like, hey, whatever is happening is exactly what is supposed to happen. It's playing out exactly as it's meant to be. Again, not always easy for me to remind myself of that, but I'm grateful that right now that's where I'm at. So I'm also really happy to take you along this journey with me. Like, so you as a viewer can see like how I deal with setbacks and how I deal with challenges and how I'm thinking about solving problems. Not saying that I am the go-to person to look to when it comes to that kind of things, but you get to see this happen in real time. I'm documenting my journey. I'm showing you what my journey is to take this book to a success. And I really firmly believe that this book is going to help me become wildly successful financially and socially and romantically. And the fact that this is uploaded on YouTube before that ever happens and you get to be part of the journey and you get to see how I sell, you get to see how I think, you get to see how I process things. You get to be part of the journey, you get to see my mistakes, you get to learn alongside with me. Just as my friend who I was on the phone with got to be there when I was traveling the world and doing some incredible things. You too get to be there and learn the lessons that I learned along the way as well. And you get to receive the education that I receive as well. And who knows how much time that can cut back for you. So I'm glad that I'm doing this. I'm glad I'm able to document this. Um, I wish I documented the whole, journey of my travels. And I would love to post the videos that I have of my travels. However, I did have a partner during that time, and the agreement that we had was we may post this years upon years down the line as a documentary and not necessarily as like vlogs. And I also told other people the same thing in terms of I'd always used to say, I don't have any intention of posting this on YouTube or posting this on social media, and saying that I may post it down the road when I'm successful. So there's a lot of people that I made that promise to as well. And but the biggest one is the one with my friend, and I got to keep that. I got to keep that promise. But nonetheless, I mean, you still get to experience a very valuable journey with me figuring out how to take a powerful book and bring it to light. So that's it. All right. I'm doing my best not to stress out about what the future holds. Part of me feels like it could take me years to make something happen with my book. And if so, am I prepared for that? But I also feel like I have something that could really pop off sooner. I like the idea of going the route of like getting it into the hands of the right people. I really think that can like expedite things. I suppose I'm like, what do I do? Do I take the second job and work these two jobs for like the next 2 months? Let me save up some money while I'm like sending out books. I guess my brain's just going haywire, trying to think of what the next steps are. What am I going to do? In the hero's journey, there there's actually a structure to every hero's journey. And the hero, it's always with every hero's journey, there's always the backstory of the hero. There's always an internal conflict, there's an external conflict, and then it gets to the point where the hero hits a wall, where everything changes, and then they make a plan to accomplish something, but then they hit conflict, and then it goes plan, conflict, plan, conflict, plan, conflict. They go in between each other until there is accomplishment, and after that, there's transformation. And where I'm at is plan and conflict. I'm like, okay, let's do this. And then it's like, okay, that didn't go well. And it's like, I'm trying a bunch of things, I'm experimenting with the different things. And where I'm at right now is like my brain's trying to come up with another plan. And it doesn't like to be in this kind of in between kind of phase. It's like, okay, I can work another job 40 hours a week. Is that what I want to do? Not really. Do I have to do that? Not really, but it would really help to do so. In the meantime, yeah, I think I got to have a conversation with my friend and I'll gain more clarity from that. So, what I'm doing right now is I have the video that I'm going to upload tomorrow, which is a video I made having a conversation with a friend who I'm trying to sell, who ends up becoming a sales call. And I suppose from there, it's just let's just get the Dream 100 shit out of the way, man. And then schedule a day that I can go visit my friend, ideally within the next uh, 48 hours or 72 hours. It's Friday right now, you know, perhaps by like Monday or something. I think that would be best to go visit my friend and pitch my friend and see if I can get the 1,000 books ordered. Part of me just wants this to be fast. I'm trying to like expedite this as much as I can. But like spirituality tells me to be patient, be okay with where I'm at, accept where I'm at, enjoy the process. It's tough to listen to your own advice sometimes. I'm doing my best, man. Anyway, 11:12 p.m. editing this video. We're making this happen, man. We're making it happen. I'm doing my motherfucking best, dog. That's all I can do, right? Is just continuously do my fucking best. It's currently 12:46 a.m. and I just finally finished editing a video. It's a 2 hour and 10 minute long video. And yeah, I'm happy about it. I'm happy that it's complete. I'll have a video to upload later today. Um, One thing I'm thinking about right now is for every action is an equal and opposite reaction by Mr. Sir Isaac Newton. Had a really good conversation with a friend about that recently. It took me forever to understand it, but I understand it now. The way she put it to me was like, let's say you take specific actions like today. You woke up early, you ate healthy, you got a workout in, you hung out with healthy people in a healthy environment. These are all actions, right? But you get an equal and opposite reaction, which basically means the work that you put in, you're going to get a result that is as big as the effort that you put in. So, on the back end of that, you might add a day or two to your life, health wise. Same thing if you go, like right now, I'm doing this thing with YouTube. I'm putting in a lot of effort, a lot of action, a lot. I'm making deposits, a lot of deposits. And I'll be sending out a tremendous amount of books soon, hopefully, very soon. Let's see if my person invests. If not, I'm thinking about taking the second job so I can have some extra capital so I can be able to send out more books to people. And yeah, for me, just having more books, the better. And I'll have enough money to be able to send copies of my book to people while at the same time working on YouTube. And it's just putting in all that work. For every action is an equal and opposite reaction. So that's what's holding me together right now. Um, I'm gonna brush my teeth and get ready for bed. I'm also thinking about the book, The Compound Effect. Uh, it's one of those books that has made a massive difference in my life, and I'm just reflecting on like success takes time, bro. It takes time, especially like starting a new business, right? I think it's totally possible that it'll take me like a year to really be able to gain some traction with the book, open up more opportunities, just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. Just fucking push this motherfucker, man. And it's just those little actions taken consistently over a long period of time, documenting my journey over the next year as well. And I remember when I went to Genius Network, Joe Polish was interviewing the CEO of Hay House. I think his name is Andy Reid. And he said 10,000 is like the magic number. You get your book in the hands of 10,000 people, your book will begin to spread very naturally. You won't have to do much after that. And for me, in order for me to get 10,000, my book in the hands of 10,000 people, that's 25 grand. Now, this is why I'm like looking for investment. Is finding a few people who has an audience, so then they can buy it and it can spread that way. I can get to my 10,000 a lot easier. But I do believe that a lot of this is going to be there's a lot of legwork that needs to be done in terms of like giving out free books, and I'm okay with that. I I enjoy giving out free books. People really appreciate them, and it's fun, and they light up and stuff like that. But yeah, it's gonna take time, but I do think that it's gonna pay off uh, in in a much bigger way I than I can expect. There used to be this saying in the dating community. It's probably still a saying, which is you only deserve the girl who you're willing to walk away from. If you're not willing to walk away from the girl, you don't deserve the girl. And to put that into these kind of terms, I walked away from an opportunity of a lifetime 2 years ago. And I believe that within the next within the next 3 years, I will have another opportunity that is similar to that. However, it's going to have the key component that I felt that opportunity was missing, which is feeling like it's meant for me. I walked away from that opportunity because I felt like it wasn't for me. And I'm glad I have experience in my life because when I walked away from my best friend in 2017, it was rough. But 2 years later, I came across another friend who completely changed my life. And this is the person I traveled the world with. But not just that. I think about when I had dropped out of college and I was working in a sales job, telemarketing, and I started to see my friends from high school graduated from college, and I walked away from it because I just felt like I was learning way more from the books that I was reading than I was from learning from school. And like that education paid off tremendously for me going into sales. But it took time for me to be rewarded for the actions that I took. It took time. It took years for me to be like okay with the choice that I made. It took me like 3 years for me to really be okay with dropping out of college. Now it's like there's no reason for me to go. I don't need it. I'm an author and I got plenty of skills, knowledge. I built a network. It would be a massive uh, distraction to go back to school, and it wouldn't be worth it. I would drop out again because it's like I'll be in class like nigga, this is useless. But anyway, I believe in myself. I'm glad I have experience in the past in terms of taking huge risks, walking away from things that I felt like I was supposed to do, but it just didn't feel right for me. And I know it brings up the question for different people in terms of, well, how do you know it's going to be different? You know, how do you know you're not going to walk away from the next thing? The truth is, I think I'm going to always be walking away from opportunities. I think I'm always going to be putting everything on the line. That's just who it is that I am. But like, I believe that it's a scarce mindset for me to believe that I'm not going to get another opportunity. I put in so much work into myself. I create opportunities for myself. I'm 28 years old, bro. Like, I got my whole life ahead of me. It's not like I'm 48 years old and I got kids, I got a mortgage, and I got to figure out, you know, how to make something happen. If that was the case, then I might have to do something that I don't want to do, that doesn't sit in alignment with me. And I do that right now. I'm working at Chili's. I don't want to work at Chili's, but this is what I'm doing. It's just to help me as a stepping stone to get to where it is I need to go. But I'm not married to Chili's. As soon as I get the opportunity, I'm out of there. But I'm grateful to have a job, man. And I don't want to look at it like that in terms of as soon as I get the chance, I'm walking away, because like I'm putting in time into this, and I don't want to like dislike the time that I'm spending on this earth, because that time is the most precious thing that I have. Even if I'm doing something I don't necessarily enjoy, I can at least make the best out of it. So, but I also believe, man, like the right opportunity for me is on its way. There's gonna be something that's gonna come into my lap that's gonna require my specific skill sets, my specific talents, my specific look, my specific assets that I built, my book, my network, my skills in terms of speaking, my skills in terms of marketing, my skills in terms of networking, my skills in terms of sales. I believe it's all going to come together. And it's already coming together. Like I am using all of this to help take my book to the next level. And I believe that there's going to be a very lucrative opportunity that's going to open up the world to me that is very specific to me. And it's going to make everything that I walked away from worth it. And I don't think people see that. People don't understand that because they haven't made those choices for themselves. But I can't necessarily judge because I don't know what their situation was. Some people, they had to go into a situation where they have to work. They were brought up in a different time, or maybe they're brought up in the same time as me, but from a different circumstance where they aren't able to move the way that I can move. I'm very grateful, and I say it a lot, but I do believe that I'm really gonna make something happen with this. And I know it's all gonna be worth it. And I'm gonna look at the opportunity I walked away from even more and be like, you see, like I knew it. I just knew it. I knew it. My body was telling me that it wasn't for me. And right now, like I actually had a dream that I was taking part in that opportunity last night. It's the first time I ever dreamt about it. And it was fun. But it wasn't for me. I knew it wasn't for me. I know what is for me is coming around the corner. It's going to be rewarding beyond belief. My prime is around the corner, baby. And it's going to be greater than anything I could have ever possibly imagined. Greater than I can ever possibly imagine. So you get to see me here. I actually made, someone gave me $5 today as a tip at the restaurant. That was so nice of them. So now my, so now all the money in the world that I have right now is $6. That's all the money I have. $6. How insane is that? $6. 1:02 a.m. Got a motherfucking video editing or rendering. It's just about to be rendering while I sleep. My time is coming, baby. Within 3 years.